Well, the Prime Minister's message to Manipur has been one of peace and development and a focus on the path to progress and recovery from the spate of violence that has gripped the state during the ethnic strife that began on May 3rd, 2023. Now, obviously, the Prime Minister's visit has assumed huge significance, not just because of the message, but also the manner in which the time was allotted. Two very carefully chosen venues, each, from one community, and also the Prime Minister's message of asking for peace, development, ensuring that Manipur does not fall off the development map, ensuring that all of the people who are inside here at the Kangla Fort have a common message. That is something that was done in the speech. Now, the Prime Minister, of course, earlier in the day went to Churachandpur, where he also delivered a similar message. This, of course, as you see in these pictures, is the gate of the Kangla Fort. This is where the Prime Minister is right now. He's just finished speaking. And earlier in the day, remember, the weather today really hasn't been great. The Prime Minister's helicopter could not take off from, Aizawl, Lengpui. So he had to, of course, fly down to Imphal. From Imphal, he took the road route all the way to Churachandpur, came back via road to Imphal, addressed the gathering in Imphal, and is now, of course, headed out of the state after spending, the entire afternoon practically in the Manipur, capital of Imphal, giving a message to both communities for peace, progress, and development. And that's something that seems to be echoing with the people as well, at least those who've attended the Prime Minister's, speech, and especially the IDPs, the internally displaced people, who've also had a chance to meet the Prime Minister and share their concerns and share their trauma and their pain that they've borne for the last 2 years or more as the conflict has raged on. But even now, while the situation is better, while the security situation is better, there are still flare-ups that keep happening. And the Prime Minister, of course, sending out that main message of peace, a new dawn in Manipur, with peace that's accompanied by development and progress, connectivity. Remember, these are states that are far-flung. These are states that are remote. And as part of the ethnic strife and as a result of the ethnic conflict, what has happened is connectivity has also suffered because the Kuki community in the hills cannot access the Imphal airport in the valley. And the Meiteis who live in the valley cannot really have access to the national highway that passes through the hills to get out of the state. So both communities have been hit hard by this violence. And that's something that obviously the Prime Minister addressed with his focus on the speech in terms of connectivity, and also bringing up the Jiribam-Imphal railway line. That is a major infrastructure project to bring Manipur's capital Imphal on the railway map on India. This on a day when the Prime Minister inaugurated the rail link to Sairang from Bairabi. And that is also putting the capital of Mizoram, Aizawl, on the railway map. Sairang is situated close to Lengpui, which is near the capital city of Mizoram, Aizawl. And therefore, connectivity is a huge focus as far as the Prime Minister is concerned. That's also something that he spoke about in the speeches, apart from hearing the trauma, the pain of the IDPs, which was the key part of the visit, and inaugurating and laying the foundation stone for several development projects in the state of Manipur.
Right. In fact, Saurabh, the Prime Minister, he also in fact met with the victims, and this is from both the communities, from the Meiteis, from the Kuki community, and his big message there in Manipur is that the government is working to bring peace to the area with sensitivity, and that is important coming from the Prime Minister himself.
Yes, in fact, when I came here in May 2023, when the violence broke out, and my colleague Ratnadeep and I have been reporting on Manipur in detail, especially since the ethnic conflict began. And we've seen the kind of violence that broke out. We've spoken to victims' families. Some of the traumatic incidents that they shared is unimaginable. And for all these people, it was important to be able to share their pain, their trauma with the Prime Minister. And this is why the visit is so significant, because it had specifically planned the interaction with the IDPs, or the internally displaced people, as a result of the conflict. And the Prime Minister, both in Churachandpur, which is dominated by the Kuki community, and in Imphal, dominated by the Meitei community, the primary engagement, the first engagement on the schedule, was the interaction with the IDPs, the internally displaced people, both in Churachandpur, in Manipur, and also in Imphal, in Manipur. So that's important. Secondly, the Prime Minister made a pitch for development, laying the foundation stone for projects worth rupees 7,300 crore in Churachandpur, and also inaugurating projects worth 1,200 crore in Imphal. That includes several facilities like the Manipur Police Headquarters, etc. And all of this is also looking at the future for Manipur. Yes, Manipur in the last 2 years has had to face unimaginable violence, but the focus of the Prime Minister's speech and the visit is not so much, what has happened. Yes, there's an acknowledgement of what has happened. There is an understanding that it has been traumatic, but the idea is to look forward. How can Manipur come out of this cycle of violence? How can Manipur stand on an equal footing and develop along with India as the goals of Viksit Bharat 2047 take shape? In fact, that's something that the Prime Minister's message entailed. The development in Manipur, of course, it was about peace, progress, but also development. And also, when we talk about the Northeast, for people like us who've covered the Northeast, connectivity is a huge challenge. Manipur's state capital, Imphal, still does not have rail connectivity. The Prime Minister spoke about it, spoke about the ongoing construction of the Jiribam-Imphal railway line, which will put Imphal on the railway map of India. This on a day when he inaugurated another very important project, which is the Bairabi-Sairang railway line. Sairang is situated in Lengpui, where the airport is, near the capital city of Mizoram, Aizawl, and putting Mizoram on the railway map of India was what the Prime Minister did in the morning with the inauguration, and then also spoke about the pending Jiribam-Imphal project that will put Manipur's capital, Imphal, on the railway map of India.
Right. Saurabh, as far as the displaced families are concerned, the people who are the camp residents, they are concerned, how are they looking at and viewing this particular visit by the Prime Minister? Are they hopeful that things are going to get better for them?
There are concerns. Yes, they are hopeful. Having met the Prime Minister, they believe that things will look up, things will get better from here with the Prime Minister's intervention, with the Prime Minister's focus. And it's a two-way street. Let me explain how. Yesterday, I did try and get in touch with some of the IDPs, and they were saying, it's important for them to be able to share their thoughts, their trauma, their concerns with the Prime Minister. The fact that the Prime Minister flew down to Imphal, went to Churachandpur, came to Imphal, met the IDPs in both places, that does give them hope. Hope that's eluded them for the last 2 years. So that's one thing. So obviously, having met the Prime Minister, they do share a sense of hope, a sense of looking forward to the future where things get better. They've suffered unimaginable trauma, loss, pain as part of the violence. But now they hope that with the Prime Minister's intervention, with a focus on peace, but not just peace, peace based on mutual trust so that it lasts, peace also along with progress and development, they hope that they can also be an equal partner and in India's Viksit Bharat story, the 2047 Viksit Bharat goal.